Abandoned houses and nearby trees don't really work together all that well. Dead branches can drop off and punch holes in roofs, and then, of course, everything underneath gets wet. So in this case, we need to put a temporary roof onto a small bathroom extension room of the main house. It's a temporary fix, but we do need somewhere to put the compost toilet while all the bigger reconstruction work is going on around us. And the old bathroom seems like the perfect place. Inside is a bit of a mess. So as you can see, the mould and the verdigris on there shows how wet it has been inside. This is inside the bathroom. So it has been plumbed, it has been used. There are tiles. Maybe they'll clean up, you never know. And there's a sink. But, and this is the bit that's going to take today's attention, first job. So going back outside, we can have another look at that tree. I think it's a plum tree, maybe. And you can see how the branches have dropped down, punched their way through the roof of the building, and everything that's going on below is a result of that. So, little option really. The only thing we can do is to start cutting it away. We spent a lot of time planning the sequence of the cuts and working out how to do it safely so that with straps and the chainsaw we could guide the cut branches away from the building and let them fall safely, and then step by step, branch by branch, build ourselves a much better shot at getting up and seeing what was there. Then a bit of a safety check on the concrete slab ceiling. It's about 70mm thick, so no obvious damage. Good to go. So the roof of the secret room and the bathroom over the secret room, which is dry, very well insulated at the moment. That is a cement asbestos corrugated section, comes across to the centre, and then you have tiling, two different types. So there's tiles similar to on the wall side of part of the house, and further up the roof they see the same. And then there's a fill-in bit, probably they run out of interlocking over under type, and underneath you can see it is grungy and full of leaves, wet stuff. The timbers have all rotten. So this is a strip. May need to strip both parts and see where we get to.
What are you doing up there today?
So I'm just stripping back 1, 2, 3, 4 rows of the interlocked over-unders. Timbers there are quite dry. Here they're absolutely soaking wet. They've all rotted away. So I'm going to have to replace every one of them full length to go underneath that roof set there. But they are covered in leaf mould. So it's yeah, it's a good job. Once I could see what I was dealing with, it became quite clear that the eucalyptus poles nearer to the house were pretty sound. It was the bits underneath where the holes had been punched through the roof, where the rot was setting in. So I came up with an idea about leaving the rear bits of the eucalyptus in place and putting in place new rafters and setting them in as sister rafters to the ones left in place. The eucalyptus timbers over the passageway didn't look too bad. So with a bit of hacking away at the blockwork and the mortar that's there, it should be able to support a rafter to go the rest of the span. And of course, remember, this is only a temporary solution. This is not long term. A quick clean up after all the rubbish is gone, and it's amazing how much drier that cement roof has become. Just in a couple of days, even inside, the water is almost all dried up. So, having got it cleared, what happens next? Well, it'll need a wall plate down at the bottom end of the slope, and at the high end of the slope we're going to need to fit the rafters in place, and that's going to take a bit of dry fit to make the apertures, cut the holes in and get them to line up in the right place. time to fit the extension rafters in. So this wall's all been cut with channels, little spaces for the rafter to go in alongside the one that's covering the passageway downstairs underneath. So basically some water to damp them down, some mortar to just give them a bed to sit in, and then these are the rafters coming up from down below. They've all been cut with a bird's mouth for the wall plate down by there, and will fit roughly like that. And again, the idea is then to get this and this to line up, so you've got a really continuous slope down. It's a shallow slope, about 10 degrees, but we've got a number of options for tiles. There's a lot of tiles we found on the site. These ones are interlocking, which mean they can stand a shallower pitch, or a shallower slope, sorry, and so we can set those up. There'll be a sheet of OSB, a sheet of waterproof breathable membrane goes on top of that, some counter battens to give them some air circulation underneath the tiles, and then the main battens and the tiles will tuck up underneath that row there to give the continuous roof down onto the base. Sounds good in theory. Let's see how it goes. Pretty close. It'll be close enough for this assembly anyway. So I'm going for a combination of nails and screws to take the rafters down into the wall plate. I'm going to fix with one long 100mm screw just to get it clamped down, and then nail and screw, vertical nail and a diagonal nail to stop the twist. That should do the job. Always bring a second battery up when you can. Makes life so much easier. That's not going anywhere. Let that dry in at the end, and then I can nail diagonally across from the beam, the rafter into the old rafter, diagonally across into the wall plate, and that should be good. this was the point at which the weather started to turn. So I broke it down into 2 chunks and put some OSB sheet up first to cover it over, and just left that in place as a temporary fix. That's great for now, but clearly the tiles, the battens and the waterproof membrane we're going to have to follow in due course. I'll save that for a second phase. The tiles are there ready, and we've gone back with the tarpaulin over the top, once again just to keep the room dry and ready for when I can come back to it, and I'll share that with you in another video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time.